Hey, everybody. Rich from the future here. Just wanted to let you know, and not to dash your expectations, but Max and I did not get to Colton Joseph in this show because halfway through, we realized our verbosity was taking over and we were spending far more time talking about the roster construction post portal than we planned. Shocker. But we wanted to give that the time and space it needed to sort of not be rushed and go through it and discuss it with the depth that we felt it deserved, and also to give a little discussion of Colton Joseph the time it deserves as well. So just to set your expectations now and let you know that we didn't forget about it, but we're going to try to circle back later this week and do sort of a shorter single topic episode on Colton Joseph, which will get thrown in there because he it's worth, I'll just say this without spoiling anything. This is one of the more interesting quarterback additions they've had. And I want to talk about it because I spent way too much time watching Old Dominion games on YouTube to not really give it the time and energy it deserves. Anyways, just level setting here and letting you know we're not getting old and forgetting things. Well, maybe we are, but we're not forgetting to do that. So anyways, back to the show.
I'll concede your point just for brevity, but
What? Brevity? We don't do that around here. It's probably
No.
Citrus, or what is a Capital One Bowl? It used to be Citrus Bowl, right?
oh my
Capital
God,
One.
dude, where have you been?
I just like the real name.
It hasn't been the Citrus Bowl since 2002?
What was your highlight side dish from Thanksgiving?
Oh gosh, Scotch.
This is the Buck Around, the podcast devoted to all things Wisconsin Badger football from a fan perspective, featuring your hosts, Richard Branch and Maxwell Brusky.
And hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Buck Around. Welcome back to episode 374 of the Buck Around. I am one half of the Buck Around, Richard Branch, and I am joined by my divinating colleague, Maxwell Brusky. Max, how are you, sir?
I like it. Feeling pretty divinated. I thought you were going to say well rested.
No.
Based on our previous conversation.
Well, I think based on our previous conversation, I was going to say some things here we're going to have to get off into conjecture land a little bit.
Yes,
So I figured,
100%.
yeah, that was sort of tied to that as we settle down, talk about roster construction, and then we give everybody a whirlwind tour of the world of Colton Joseph on today's pod.
This is classic non-playing portion content. Right?
Indeed, we are here to do it. So we actually have a lot, I think. And knowing you and I, the verbosity kicks in. So maybe we don't even need a warm up. You and I were talking about train videos on YouTube.
Yeah, we do not need a warm up.
We don't need
Highly
to.
recommended. Railroad Media Archive. For those, at least we have like one or two guys out there that I know are like, oh yeah,
Yes.
I know that stuff. Looking at you, Tom.
Yeah. Excellent Delaware and Hudson videos from the midst, like pre-Conrail, if you're into
Jerry
it, people.
Lackawanna.
Yeah. So why don't we just get into this and we will, let's just do it. So, I mean, I think the idea was you and I were going to sort of do a post portal state of the roster, so to speak, and sort of like try to, in our minds, maybe piecing together what we know about these guys, where they come from, what the team needed, blah, 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 blah. Maybe like try to figure out how the roster is being constructed, right? I mean, I think it's it's not so much a depth chart, like who's going to start, who's going to do this, who's going to do that. Because I feel like, it was funny prepping for this show, looking at what we did last year, it was kind of like, oh, wow, this was weird. I mean, our big thing was like trying to guess snap counts on defense. I mean, we weren't right. Like, I think everything we did, I look back, I was looking at our counts and I'm like, yeah, no, I get why we said this or said that, but it was wrong. It's shocking because we've never been wrong on this podcast before. But I guess I was thinking like less useful as an exercise than maybe just trying to look at roster construction and rather than trying to guess at things. So yeah, why don't we do that? So you want to lead us off? How do we want to do this, Max?
I think just going on the position blocks
Yeah,
in a
right?
classic way and start with the quarterbacks and end with the special team.
Yeah, I mean, and
just
there's
the
not
usual thing.
there's not too much to say about quarterbacks, right? I mean, we know this.
No. And that one too, I think, barring injuries, which you really can't say. I mean, other than the law of averages, I think has to work out at some point. But I mean, I think you're looking at obviously Colton Joseph as the starter, and we're going to talk a lot about him today. After that, I don't know quite so much. I know you did the deep dive last year with Danny O'Neill as well. I don't know if you want to do that with Deuce Adams at some point too, because then I think you're at Deuce Adams, Carter Smith.
Yeah.
I think we agree that with Danny O'Neill's injury, God only knows what he wants to do, and he can rehab here and all that stuff. But that kind of injury that's not a torn ACL.
Well,
that's much more serious.
Yeah. Do you know how many snaps Deuce Adams has played in his career?
Yeah, it's probably like 100, isn't it?
65.
65.
Yeah. Interesting guy. And 37 of them came in one game last year.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. I mean, it's he was highly touted. Went and got coached by Jeff Brom and his quarterbacks coach and that staff. I mean, that brings something to the table.
I think it's largely he rides the year out and then next year reads the tea leaves, which I mean, he or Smith are gone, right? So as you said, I get it. It's a way to have 5 quarterbacks. Makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's as good, or I mean, it's a better room than last year. I think you could argue.
I feel like it's a better room. And then what's crazy though, is that if it did turn out like last year, you'd be looking at Ryan Hopkins playing 3 games or starting 3 games.
Right.
Based on its current construction.
Yeah. So
I don't know if they're going to add anybody. If there's a Hunter Simmons out there somewhere that'll be added after spring or
unless there's an
like
injury,
that. I don't
right?
see it, but yeah. But
okay.
Just when you look at that room right now, like last year, Ryan Hopkins would be starting 3 games.
Do you feel better or worse about this? It's hard because you've seen last year's room play.
better. I think we'll talk about it out, and I'm very interested to see what your film study and deep dive shows about Colton Joseph, but I feel a lot better about him than Billy Edwards. Maybe not Tanner Mordecai necessarily. I don't know, but
how dare you?
But I think he brings a lot.
Okay.
So yeah, with that said, I think that's a pretty easy one.
Yeah, no.
Go running backs next based on your indispensable chart.
So
feel a lot better about this room.
Yeah, like I mean, in your mind, it's Sama is obviously the starter, right? And then Darian Dupree is the 1A. And then behind that, it's Palmer and Jackson fighting for the 3rd spot, right? Like in my mind, they're sort of like the rotational guys that are competing to be that change of pace, 3rd down back / 75 carry guy, 50 carry on the season, whatever it is. Yep. And then the rest of them, I mean,
Rashid Ibrahim.
Yeah, Atuka is in the injury camp. Who knows there? I mean, they've come out and said that's a pretty bad injury.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is his injury along the Danny O'Neill lines? Kind of seems like, at least in terms of when he's gonna be back.
It's very serious.
Yeah,
like that. Yeah, very serious.
Yeah.
So I don't think we should. I don't think he is a factor on this team this year. So I think you're looking at, if they have to go 5 running backs deep, you're looking at the the walk-ons and Fatboy Wiggins type thing, who comes in the fall. But pretty straightforward.
Fatboy seems like a prospect though too. I mean,
we'll see. Sure.
Who knows? He was what, top 30, top 25?
I don't think he was that high, but
no,
he was a late. I know they claimed that they weren't getting him in response to Latimer, but they were getting him in response to Latimer.
Sure.
Looking around, but we'll see.
Well, and I always go back to the thing, at least with that Fat Boy played in a higher division and ostensibly stiffer competition than Amari Latimer did. Yeah, that's that one. I don't think is complicated either.
No, I don't think so either. Actually, so I just looked him up on Rivals. He's the 32nd running back, so you're directionally correct.
Yeah, I was going to say that's nothing to shake a stick at.
Okay, now this is where I think it gets far more interesting. I want to talk about the offensive line, if that's cool. You okay?
Yeah, that's fine. That? Sure.
So I was trying to basically break this down by tackles, guards, and centers, because that, with our little thing that I post on our socials, just with the scholarship grid, I lump all the offensive linemen together. But I was a little more curious about how they're dividing people. And yeah, so in my mind, you tell me if I'm crazy, right? So Kevin Haywood is inked in as a starting left tackle in my mind.
Right.
If he's ready to go, he has to be ready to go in my mind, because he is starting at left tackle. I think the other guy that's returning, that's definitely starting, I think Emerson Mandel is starting somewhere. I don't know if it's outside. I think he's moving in personally. And then, but maybe not, because here's what I was trying to figure out, because I was looking at all the guys they're bringing in. So Kawecki is your starting center, right? I mean, they're not bringing him in not to start. And that's what he was doing at Arkansas. So he comes in to start at center. That pushes off Ryan Corey to marinate for another year. I think based on how he came in and out of the lineup, that's not a shock. Would you agree?
No, it's not a shock. And presumably he'd improve. And if he has to play this year, I would
Yeah.
expect him to be a little bit better.
Yeah,
He
he's your
was.
backup center to let him get better.
He's
That's fine.
just very inexperienced.
Third-year player this year. But then they brought in, so besides Koecki, they brought in Lucas Simmons, PJ Wilkins, Blake Cherry, and Styles Blackman, member of the all-name team.
Yep.
I think the only one who is a tackle is Lucas Simmons. I mean, he's 6'8". The other ones are 6'4", 6'5", and they seem to stick with that. You know, they want big, tall. It's back to sort of what Christ and all those guys did.
Classic,
which is just
classic Wisconsin. Yeah.
Classic Wisconsin long tackles. So the thing I was looking at tackle specifically, if you have Kevin Haywood, your other tackle spot seems to be a competition between Lucas Simmons and Barrett Nelson, right? Because you're not bringing, Lucas Simmons isn't coming to Wisconsin in my mind unless he's told like, hey, you got an inside track to start.
You got shot. Yep.
You got a shot. Like, you're our first option. You just got to prove it, right? And they kept Barrett Nelson around because I just think he's a guy who is talented, who's just always been hurt. And they figure, I mean, you're not going to do worse in the portal.
I would agree too. And at least having seen Barrett Nelson like in person, and after the spring game last year, like when you see him next to the rest of those guys, like he looks like he fits right in and has that look. And yes, I would agree. You've really never seen him healthy.
No. So you're taking sort of a flyer on him. You got Lucas Simmons. And then in my mind, I guess the plan C, so to speak, or plan B, depending on where he ends up in that pecking order, I guess they could slide Mandel back out because he's shown he can play right tackle. Not great, but he's going to get better.
Oh, yeah.
And he's done it. And he played the most snaps of anyone on the offense last year. What's interesting to me is I'm mostly honestly interested in the portal guys, which is, where do they feel like they needed to beef up? And they did it primarily on the interior. And that may be what you can get because you're not going to find a lot of tackles. But my assumption, I'm either thinking they're hoping for two starters, out of Wilkins, Cherry, and Blackman and Cubberly, right? Because I sort of have those four guys in the competing to start role. And Blake Cherry is a guy, he comes with Mateos, just like Koecki. So you have to presume he's a guy who burned a red shirt just like Kevin Haywood. He's on the Kevin Haywood arc. So maybe he's the guy who is most likely to start. And if he can start and one of the other ones percolates up, I mean, Styles Blackman was an all-conference player, granted at lower level, but he's not coming to back up, right?
Where was he from again?
I think it's Augustana. It's Division II. Type thing.
Yep. Augie.
And so he has a red shirt that he could use if they need him to, but I feel like they're looking for somebody to slot in there. And if they can do that and they can find two, Mandel can go outside if Simmons doesn't work. I get the construction. I'm not super hyped on the tackle end of it because you're also assuming, Haywood's good, ready to go. I don't see why he wouldn't be. I mean,
I don't see why he wouldn't. Yeah.
He's 11 months out now. But, or maybe 10, I guess, depending on when he heard it. But, we'll see. I think that's about as reasonable as you can do unless you're pulling an A-list starter at tackle. But,
well, put it this way. Overall, I feel a lot better about the group, the whole, from tackle to tackle. I feel a lot better about it, especially in terms of depth, no matter what they do. I feel you got two starters in there. Will you get an upgrade over Malman? Will you get an upgrade over Brunner?
I think that's asking a lot.
I think it's asking a lot too. Okay. But other than that, I think it's improved. And I think too, I know it's the fourth coach in 4 years. Okay. So there's a little bit of that in there. But I don't think that, not that they listen to your criticism or anybody else's on it, but I think they knew that they messed that up last year.
Well, I think they knew the misevaluation was something like the thing we don't know.
Yeah.
Like we can feel better about the line now because nobody's hurt. Like if Kevin Haywood
100%
gets hurt.
But think about, no, I agree. It
looks the same.
Again, injuries change, but I think there's at least more bodies in there. And there is the fact that all five of the guys that signed last year stayed. And if you have comparable or better results from class before them, which, by the way, all those guys are still here too. Was it four, or is there a fifth one that I'm missing that did leave?
What about Durand, or was he from the class before? He was the class before.
I think he was the class before. Yeah, I think he was the class before. And by the way, I think he transferred again. So, I mean, that's 9 guys right there out of the previous 2 classes. So that to me, that's something to feel good about. And if you can get similar results out of the class from last year that you did with the class before them, those guys were thrown in. They were young, but Corey, Coverly, and especially Mandel, like those guys play a lot of snaps.
Yeah.
And again, you saw the results. They're pretty young. I don't know if I don't think they were quite as good as the 2015 situation where you had 4 redshirt freshmen starting. But I mean, 2015 was also a year when they rushed for the least that they did compared to the previous 15. So
Yeah.
I don't know, but I feel good about at least there should be plenty of bodies there.
You know who we forgot? Derek Jensen. He's gone.
That's who it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that's who it was. Yep.
But they got
so yeah. So I don't know. There's a lot to feel good about there.
I am more measured, I think, just because I think here's what you're hoping the new offensive line coach. Again, this comes back to my sort of Hail Mary approach to this thing to get fixed is you have to be all in on Jeff Grimes and by extension in on the offensive line coach that he's bringing in. And you have to be confident that Koecki and Cherry are going to work. Like if Blake Cherry works and they get a little bit of a steal there, like that would be pretty cool if they can get a guy. I mean, he played all he did. I'm reading a lot here, right? Because all he did last year was do the Haywood thing as a true freshman, which was, extra points and field goals. But they burned a red shirt on him doing that, getting him ready to play for this year, right? So in my mind, there's a very good chance that he may be game ready, so to speak. So you have 2 positions there theoretically sorted out. But I do think it's relying on moving some pieces around if things don't work. And it's kind of fingers crossed on a little bit of lightning in a bottle. But
I think so. One interesting thing to note, Koecki and Haywood at least have a W in their name, but there's nobody on here with a Z.
Thank you for that analysis, Max.
Well, I mean, that's a departure.
Yes. All right, we're moving on. We're already 18 minutes in and we're not even through the line here. All right, tight end. Let's talk about tight end. Who do you what do you make a tight end? Because they have a lot of tight ends on this roster.
I know. Well, if Schwenden can be the next Lance Mason, I mean, you're looking good.
By the way, it's Schwendeman. It auto-corrected to that. I don't know why. Well, that's what?
That's what I thought. That didn't look right to me. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that's wrong. It's Schwendeman.
Okay, Schwendeman, yeah. If he could be the next Lance Mason.
But why? Just because he's a lower level tight end?
I don't know. Well,
so are you assuming he's a starter?
I think so, yeah. But you still got Stuck, and I know they like Bork a lot, and Bork was hurt a lot of last year, so those guys are still there. I don't think you can count on the true freshman for anything appreciable, but
no.
I think Seaver's a pretty good player potentially.
And then what are you doing with the Bowling Green guy, Harris?
Oh, I think he's in there too.
So who do you? I mean, in my mind, I think Schwendeman and Harris are probably the inside track to start.
Agreed.
And Stack is
well, no. Stack played a lot.
He did, and yes and no, but I don't know, man. I don't feel like they're bringing 2 of them in if he's starting. Like he played 200 snaps. His snaps went down as the year went on. I don't know if that was injury related. But I mean, he played 29 snaps against Miami of Ohio and then 1 against Minnesota. So I wonder.
He played 1 snap against Minnesota?
If they missed 1 or 2, but he did. It's single digits. 5 against Illinois, 13 against Indiana.
Seriously?
Now, I don't know how much of that is, Lance Mason.
Yeah, but you got to have 2. And if you're Grimes, wow, that's crazy. I know. When did Ashcraft go out again?
Well, most of the season, he came back late. I mean, here, if you want to know by tight ends, you had 500 snaps for Lance Mason, 293 for Jackson Aker, 200 for Grant Steck, and then Ashcraft with 85 and McGohan with 27.
Wow. Okay. I didn't realize that Steck's snap count that low, especially as the season went on.
Yeah, he's played more in the beginning and played less as the year went on. I mean, he is more of the inline type. But I feel like that's what Harris is. I mean, he's a big, square-shouldered tight end.
Yeah.
And maybe the 2 of them are, maybe it's, and I'm not convinced that Schwendeman is penciled in as the starter. Maybe he is.
You don't have to be. No. I'm only saying that if they can get that from him. which is asking a lot because Mason turned out to be pretty freaking good.
I mean, I know everybody was he that good? I mean, I feel like,
You can say what you want, but in an 18-team league, he was still the second team All Big Ten tight end
I mean,
in an 18-team league.
he had 398 receiving yards on the season, 102 of them in one game against Middle Tennessee State. He
Crappy
never caught.
quarterback
Do you
the
know
whole
he?
time.
Do you know he never had more than 50 receiving yards in a game outside of that game?
Do you know that this was Wisconsin's worst pass defense in
I mean,
literally
pass
50
offense,
years?
but
Pass
I guess
offense in
that's my
50 years?
point. Like, I mean, he's fine, but I feel like you're hyping up something that he was not. Is what I'm saying. He was fine.
All I know is that in an 18-team league, the coaches and the media put him as the second team tight end in an 18-team league with 3 playoff teams, including the national champion.
Great.
That's all I know.
But yeah, I did. But again, I'm just saying, is he that good?
I thought so, yeah.
Okay, because I mean,
Yeah.
he was fine. Like, but I
Yeah.
think you're just sort of like hunting for anything on a bad. You know what I mean? Like the best player on a bad team.
Sure. Well, yeah.
I mean,
I don't think it's bad, but yeah.
I mean, I just feel like there's a big gap between him and say Vinny Anthony, like in
Yeah,
terms of an
probably.
impactful player.
Sure. Okay. Well, do you feel better or not as good? Or the same?
I don't, because these two guys, like I get what they're doing. I feel like they have options. Maybe I think it really comes down to I kind of think Tyler Janze is not a factor. I kind of think Emmett Bork or what's his face Davis. Like if they're in the mix, maybe it makes it a little more interesting because I think I know what Jackson McGohan is. I think I know where he fits in the roster, and I think I know he's that sort of flex him out wide tight end that they're not going to use a ton type of player unless he's making some huge jump. So I think they have options. It's depth wise in terms of roster construction. I get the position, I guess.
Well, I do. They do like Bork.
Yeah. All right. So
Yeah.
let's go to wide receiver.
Okay.
I feel like you have a top 3 in my mind.
Mhm.
I'm fairly confident in Hilton, Brooks, and Jalen Domingo. Which, by the way, I've seen his name. I saw highlights of him, and they call him DiMaggio in it. And I'm like, is that like a like as in
No,
Joe?
I think I heard somewhere that it is Domingo.
Because but I mean, like the announcer called him DiMaggio.
No, I think maybe we should look at I don't know, a pronunciation guide.
Well, it's not on the site yet because I was like, huh. But so those 3, I feel like you can pencil in. They're not bringing. I mean, at Southeast Louisiana, Domingo was the leading receiver. I mean, he had the triple crown: receptions, yards, and touchdowns. I mean, he had twice as many receptions as the next guy in the team.
Yeah.
I feel like he's being brought in to start. Eugene Hilton's not coming back to sit, and
No,
I feel
he's
like
not coming back to sit.
and I feel like Chris Brooks, and he shouldn't.
No.
And Chris Brooks, I think is just like, he may not be a super sexy pick, but he is steady. He can block. He's a big enough body. I feel like he slots right in. And then with the rest of them, I feel like with like Zion Kearney, who's a guy who didn't play a lot of snaps behind good, wide receivers.
Kearney to me is like a little Jalen Ballard-esque.
I would think that's a very good comparison, honestly.
Yeah.
It's like you're taking a bit of a flyer there.
Yeah.
Rigby's kind of the same idea. Malachi Coleman, maybe I don't know. I mean,
that's an interesting one to me.
I think that one, just the timing of it, has much more to do with cost than anything.
It's just interesting.
Yeah.
When you look at his career, and if we were sitting, as we're sitting here now looking at Tabito, I think.
Yeah.
Zion Legree and Cash Brock, like you'd have been really, really excited when you saw Malachi Coleman on that list.
Yeah, I mean, a few years ago you would.
Right. So he's interesting to me.
But I feel like all of those guys are sort of and lump them with Terrell Henry, and that's sort of like your next bunch looking to fill out. I mean, and that's 7 names. They are not going more than 7 deep at wide receiver in any realistic fashion. So I feel like the rest of them.
I don't see that either.
I mean, unless one of the freshmen can push through, but I feel like the rest of them are off to the side.
Everybody thought Hilton was going to
push through.
Yeah.
I mean,
as far as like
played.
Well, he did, but I mean, when you're looking back at this time last year, I mean, who was the player that people were most excited about? I think it was Eugene Hilton.
Yeah, but I would argue, I mean, Vinny Anthony was Vinny Anthony, and people wanted to see more of Tretch. So you had that sort of floating around.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I get the construct. I think this is as reasonable as you can expect for a Wisconsin offense that had 12 points a game last year.
Yeah, I think so too. And this is another one that's really funny, right? I know it's 2026, and man, do you remember, like, through the history of this show, looking at a wide receiver group, it was the only time was like 2019 when you had Cephas back
Hmm.
after injury and legal legal issues. Where you had like this really good group you're excited about. Other than that, like it was a lot of this same exercise with less transfers.
Yeah. I
Right?
no, but I mean, like, this is sort
I
of,
mean, even you go back to
yeah,
2008. you know?
yeah, yeah. No, I'm with you.
Yeah. I mean,
But
it's been a long time since there's been like two or let alone 3+ guys. I mean, when's the last time? It would have been Cephas and Danny Davis and AJ Taylor in that group.
yeah,
And then before that, you're going back to like Nick Toon and Jared Aberderas. Or other than that, you're looking at something like this.
no, I
Or
agree.
Vinny. The only thing is there's nobody on here that's like Vinny Anthony. That's a total proven commodity. Vinny Anthony's probably going to get drafted, even if it's in this 5th, 6th, 7th round. But there's no other than Hilton. And again, based on what Hilton did last year, I think that's a lot of quarterback play and all that stuff. It's very hard to see it, but I just don't think it's that dissimilar of an exercise that you've had for the last 30 years.
Yes. I mean,
With some
Eugene
years accepted.
Hilton's biggest highlight of the season was faking out a defensive back. I mean, and I don't mean that as a knock on him. I mean, like,
Right.
it's a lot of projection.
That was the biggest highlight.
He had a big catch
even,
against Oregon,
yeah,
and that's it.
There's not even a Luke Swan.
All right, let's go to defense because we are going to run out of time here if we don't keep moving. And as you and I just said, that no one's going to hear our magic conversation, just to let everybody know, we're going to push Colton Joseph off to a separate pod. And I actually think that's useful because he deserves his time and space, as does the defense, because the I don't want to spoil any, but all right. So let's move to defense. As I said, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 portal dudes who I think are all there to be rotational, competing for starting jobs. And then Dylan Johnson and Charles Perkins. And then I don't know if you think anyone else. I mean, I don't see anybody else who can play there. Like, I mean, do you think Akponu? I mean, we don't know anything about Petaway, Akponu. Are they going to be making big jumps in their second year and contributing? I feel like these guys, Fickle talks about offensive line. Why isn't defensive line looked at the same way? Where it's like they need 3 years.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy to me too. Especially and last year, I thought they had a pretty decent group.
They
Probably
did.
one of the better ones that they've had in a while. And Coach Fickle, the former D lineman himself. Yeah, I mean this group here, there's nothing there that really jumps out.
But did anything jump out last year?
Well, I just, Max's number one rule of football, defensive line is the most important position, and they don't grow on trees. But if you were going to throw money at like a plan A one guy, I'd do it. I mean, Charles Perkins is good, but he's not like a, all conference level war daddy.
I mean, is that I don't get the Charles Perkins thing. I mean, how many snaps did he? I know hurt, blah, 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 blah. He played 73 snaps last year.
Yeah, that's
he
nuts.
Tried to portal.
Yeah, and they reeled him back or whatever.
I think it was presented that you have already signed away your rights. I mean, he's on so I don't know what that means for him. And
you're not good enough for a court case.
Or do you want to sit through it type of thing? Like whatever the calculation was there. So I feel like that one is a weird one. I'm looking at this and you're assuming they have 6 guys between Hammond Russell, who was a starter at West Virginia till he got hurt. Jake Anderson, who played 600 plus snaps at Southern Illinois. Junior Poyser, who played, I think, 350 at Albany. The Nigel Cooper, something similar. And then Dylan Johnson in year 3, who is this the year he breaks through? Because he played 71 snaps. His snaps went down last year, but I think that's just because the defense was better. Mm-hmm. And Charles Perkins, aforementioned. Like, you got 6 guys. I think you're hoping for 4 of them to be decent. And then maybe you're stealing one out of sort of my depth group of, Nolan Vills, believe it or not, played a few snaps last year.
Oh, yeah, he did. He played a lot of special teams too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I know from scrimmage he played 34, according to our friends.
Yeah, he was out there.
And I mean, I guess maybe Petaway or Capone, like one of them boils up. That's about all you can hope for there. And I think it's a very similar situation as last year, just maybe with I think it's one less body they're throwing at it, which I don't know if that's the right move or the wrong move, but they seem to be taking that similar approach, which is numbers and hopefully get a rotation out of it. And maybe it works,
Right.
maybe it doesn't. This is the one that I feel like is throwing darts. This is the one where you're just picking names out of a hat because we don't know
No,
who's going to
no,
be
I
good.
agree. If I'm excited about a younger dude, it would be DJ Ba.
But I mean, is he going to play as a true freshman? I have a
Could.
tough time seeing it.
It's not unprecedented.
I guess. But I mean, you're saying like in that 10, 12 snap a game, rotational guy, I guess. Yeah,
Probably.
maybe.
Probably.
Okay. You have any other thoughts on it? Because I don't really have many.
No. Other than the fact that again, it's the most important position group on any team, and we're kind of at the same thing without a star.
It looks like last year's to me, or at least it's the same approach.
Which was good.
It's just if they got the talent evaluation right, then it works, right?
Yeah. I want a Keanu Benton.
Well, I don't think that's here, and you're not getting. I just don't think you're getting that in the portal.
I want a Keanu Benton.
I mean,
Well, you're not, again, if you're not getting it in the portal, because if you want that in the portal, it's as with anything else, these guys just don't grow on trees.
Yeah.
And unless you're willing to spend $2 million on the next Nick Fairley, you know what I mean? It's it's not a salary cap situation, but like you would have to allocate a lot of money to get one of the 2 or 3 top end defensive linemen that are in the portal every year.
Yeah.
There's just not enough of them.
No, I get it. All right. Linebacker. Let's move to inside linebacker. We know the starters.
Yeah.
We don't need to talk about it a ton, but what do you think of the construction? I mean, they have 8 inside linebackers on this roster.
Yeah, I don't think there's much to talk about here. Same thing. It's pretty similar to quarterback.
I mean, to
Or
me,
running back.
yeah. I mean, I'm assuming there's 5 bodies. You take out the top 2. It's the 3 depth guys.
Easy.
It's Kamara, Heiberger, and Schaefer. I mean, Schaefer's being brought into play, right? You're not bringing junior college guys in not to play. So, all right, that gives you 5. Heiberger is funny because I think he's going to kind of do the dollar thing that Witt did. Like, again, some of the position stuff here feels a little bit arbitrary. Like, I think he's more the natural fit for that position than Witt is anyways.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, there's nothing to talk about, right? I mean, assuming no crazy injuries, it's...
Right. And I like Kamara. I mean, that was an interesting one too. Like one of the more higher out of the whole transfer group. I mean, he was on the higher end of the ratings, wasn't he?
I actually don't know what I mean, he played, he was a rotational linebacker at Kansas, right? And
Was it Kansas?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think having Ben Wenzel there too. I mean, that's another one in the pipeline, I think.
Yeah. I mean, so you got one down the line. And
so yeah, I don't think there's much to talk about there.
Okay. And so let's go to outside linebacker. I figure I think Sebastian Cheeks is starting, right? Like I'm just looking at the way this thing is constructed. And you're bringing Justice Boone in to start, don't you think? Because he's a 1-year guy. And then you've got, that's where I'm trying to figure it out. Because again, this is a weird one where the position is really like 3 positions. Because you have the Aaron Witt, you have the rush edge, you have a field and bound. It's even more. It's a field, a boundary, the Daryl Peterson position / Michael Garner position, which is a 3rd position. And then the star position that Aaron Witt played, which is a 4th position. Like Cheeks and Boone are field boundary types, right? Nick Clayton, I think he's in the mix this year. Tyrese
I think he's definitely in
Fierbry
the mix.
is back for reasons. I was really shocked he was back, quite honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Witt continues to be Aaron Witt. Michael Garner, I guess, sort of steps into the Daryl Peterson role. I guess. And then I have all these guys that I just don't know what to do with.
No.
Like Liam Danitz, I think he's like a star guy. I think he's doing what Witt does.
If he gets eligible.
Jalen Williams, Sam Lechedu.
Jalen Williams, another highly touted one. I mean, he was like Willer.
We'll see.
Like, on that level.
Yeah.
Incredible get on signing day.
Yeah. I just don't know where he is in the mix right now.
Jaden Lofton's basically like that. He took a year elsewhere, but he's basically one of those guys that they recruited pretty heavily. So that one will be interesting. And then God, or is it why? I always forget how you say that, but God, that was a pretty interesting one.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know where those guys fit. I feel like
I don't know, but going up and down that list, there's plenty of guys.
This one almost feels like they're doing it off outside linebacker, what they did at defensive line last year. It feels like
Yeah.
numbers to a certain bit and throwing a bunch at the wall and seeing what sticks, right?
Yeah.
And
Well, and if you can get it, if you can get like out of Clayton, who my understanding is that he's bulked up pretty well, and I think when when the spring roster comes out, he might be at that 20, 25 pound kind of improvement, and if
Right.
you get something to him that's like potential Mason Rager, close to that as a pass rusher, which is I think what they want from him,
yes.
pass rush specialist, and what is he, 6'5"?
Yeah, he's one of the longer ones. I think he might be
Yeah.
6'4".
Yeah,
but-
it's just he's another one though. Having
Yeah.
seen him, pretty up close last
Mhm.
year, he was so skinny.
Oh,
He
okay.
was so skinny,
Yeah.
so skinny. Yeah, it was almost. He looked like he would be a really, really good basketball player, like a not even a guard necessarily. Like, even though I think like somebody like Josh Gosser is taller than him, but that's kind of what he looked like, and he'd be a really, really good basketball player as opposed to a rush and rush linebacker type of guy. But like I said, my understanding is that he's been one of the guys that's been working on sculpting and that sort of thing.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see.
Bulking out.
So he looks like Liam Danitz, basically.
Yeah, it's just weird though. I mean, obviously it's Hope College, so it's really small school stuff. And he's one of those guys. What is it? Because he's like a track guy.
Yep.
So no. I think Clayton's a 100% football player and always was.
Yeah.
So
No.
yeah, I'm interested to see what he's like this year. He's
Yeah.
probably one of the guys I'm most excited about.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're comfortable with the construction of the? I mean, it has so
I
many
am.
numbers.
I am. Yeah, I am.
And I am working off the assumption that they're going to have the defense kind of look like it looked like last year, which
Yeah.
may or may not be accurate, but
Yep.
it's a lot of bodies. I think it's the biggest room in the defense. Cornerback. Let's talk about corner, because this is the total makeover. When I was doing my little cut up
Total
of the
makeover.
roster, corner, yeah. And with all my little yellow names, like the whole rotation. And we are working off the assumption Kairos Gaines is now a safety, as he said in that video, which I missed. I didn't even realize that when I made this.
Yep.
So he's out of the mix at corner, but you are looking at all portal guys, I think, competing for any realistic time. The cornerback room is funny to me because I'm assuming Javon Robinson he's a 2-year starter. He's not coming in to sit. And
Yeah, he
then
looked pretty good too.
I haven't watched much Arizona State stuff, but then you have Fletcher, Bates, and West. Those are the 3 guys competing for 2 spots, because the 4th is already taken by Robinson, right? So those are theoretically your 3 starters are coming from these 4 bodies. My initial thought and continued thought is, I just feel like, and I don't mean to beat a dead record, I still don't understand why you didn't keep Agard in the mix here. Like, it makes no sense.
Yeah, out of anything that happened in terms of players leaving, that one to me was one of the most surprising and potentially most impactful.
Yeah, to me, it's not so much impactful in the moment. It just feels like if you're trying to build a sustainable thing, like,
Yes.
you gotta have some continuity. I mean, maybe they just don't think you're gonna do that. I don't, we don't know what they're thinking.
Well, that could have been. And honestly, that's the other thing too, is I think if they wanted him to stay, they would have found a way to do it.
But they didn't. And so you've got behind those front 4, it's just young guys,
Right.
I mean, you're looking at guys who I don't think.
Carson Elam's though, man, he's the next Xavier Luke.
Okay. Well,
I'm kidding.
no one has played a snap. I know. But behind those top 4, no one's played a snap. Scott and Washington and Elam's and Dunmore coming in.
I would say about Elam's, it would be nice to see somebody like that.
I mean, it would always be nice to see
have
good
somebody
players
emerge, and it just it seems so rare.
I know. So safety. Let's move there because I don't have a lot to say about corner other than like they're bringing in.
I mean, it's a total remake, and we'll see how it goes.
It's upside guys. Like the outside of Robinson, it's guys who haven't played. You're looking to take a jump, right?
Yep.
So
Yeah,
you're looking to
100%.
hit 2 out of 3 on that. I do feel like corner is thinner That feels like there are fewer permutations you can make there because there are fewer guaranteed commodities there, and you are hoping for progression out of the other
Mhm.
three. So safety. Marvin Burks is starting, right? I mean, I don't think you and I have any different disagreement about that. I mean, he's a starter
No,
from Mizzou.
yeah, I was gonna say it's Missouri, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
So, and then I was trying to figure out where you're getting your second safety because so Skeens is there now. Matt Young played a lot.
Played a lot.
Yeah, more I think than they wanted him to, quite honestly, more than he was
I
ready to
think so
play.
too. Yep.
Matt Trainer played a little before he got hurt. Grant Dean played special teams. I didn't even realize that. He burned his red shirt. He played a lot of special teams. So maybe there is more
Who
to
did?
that.
Oh,
Grant
Grant Dean.
Dean.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say Dean and Emmerich. I think I like them.
See, yeah, so Emmerich didn't play as much. Doesn't mean he's bad. He just didn't play.
He got
much.
hurt.
Yeah. And Carson Van Dinter, maybe. I don't know what he feels like. Your Owen Arnett to me.
I think he feels like that to me too, and he's one of them. I don't quite know what to make of Abu Sama, except he's looks really, really freaking good.
Abu Sama's a running back. You talking about?
I know that, but they both came from the same
Oh,
place.
okay. I'm so confused.
They both had 60% of their team go to Penn State.
Yeah.
Fair point. So I'm wondering, how does that fit in?
Yeah.
And not only that, both Sama and Van Dinter were out almost immediately as soon as the portal was open.
Mm-hmm.
Take the timing for what it's worth, but it was before it became the Penn State cycle.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So it's that maybe there's nothing there. I don't know. I don't know, but it's to me, it's Campbell had his list. And I mean, what is it? It's like 37 guys, I think. Campbell took with him.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah. So anyway, that one. So to me, yes. So yeah, probably. What if though, if he's comparable to Matt Young, or would overtake him?
Okay. I mean, I think what you're really looking at is, do they have a second? I keep bouncing back and forth on this, but I feel like Skeens has a bit of an inside track here in my mind.
I think, yeah, if they moved him, because I was thinking of Skeens too. I don't know if they would have left him as a cornerback if he was going to be a nickel. I feel like he would have stayed as a cornerback if he was going to be the nickel. But maybe that's where they see him being. I don't know.
Because he doesn't feel like a third safety, he's not a three safety look safety.
No,
he's
and
definitely high safety.
Yeah, well, if you see him, he's not that big.
No, he's not. I mean, I don't think he's 200 pounds. So
well, and if he's 6 foot, I'd be surprised.
All right.
Might be listed as 6 foot, but he doesn't look 6 foot.
Yeah, I'll admit safety. I do feel like the secondary I feel better. I don't know. I feel like both sides of the ball, since we're just kind of like wrapping the scrimmage stuff, have a couple positions where I go, like, I feel like the offensive line is a little bit of move pieces around. And I feel like in the secondary here, it's trying to move some pieces around to bridge some gaps. And I don't know what I think of it.
Well, I will, like I said, Dean had a red shirt burned. I think they like him a lot. I like him a lot.
Yep.
And Emmerich had a lot of playing time in the spring and all that stuff until he got hurt, and he was out for the season. I can't remember if he got hurt in fall camp and it was an out for the season injury, but I'm 90% sure it was within the first week of fall camp when he got hurt. So I do like them, and I don't quite know where they'll fit in this year. But as far as roster construction goes, Burks is the starter. We'll see what happens as another guy. See what happens with a nickel hybrid safety kind of thing. It'll be interesting to me to see where like Dunn fits in, because he's been there and he's still there.
Still there.
Like so many secondary players have left, like so many of them. So I don't know. I mean, I think it's one of those things that you're gonna have to see what the spring practices and then fall camp look like before you can really have any handle on it.
The thing that gives me pause on anyone older than a true freshman last year was for like a guy like Raphael Dunn, there was an opportunity to play.
Right.
And if you go back and look, he played early in, mop-up time. I think he played in 2 games. I know he played against Middle Tennessee State. Yeah. We saw him very late. Actually, you know what? I can just look this up. Why am I? And I think he played in one other, which was I was right. He played one snap against Oregon. That I don't. There were snaps to be had, and he didn't have them. So I feel like you're looking at a guy there that has to make a jump for him to be someone you're saying, oh,
Correct.
he's going to play on the field.
Except he's still there.
Except he's still there, but there's a lot of reasons for that. Lastly, specialists. I actually, I mean, I guess this is how you do it, right? You're just going to have two of each. So your Lom's your kicker, and then I think Goodman's your backup kicker, or Mellum is your backup kicker. Sean West's your punter, Trannell's the backup, and then Rowe and Goodman are your long snappers.
Yep.
I think you just do portal forever unless you're going to find somebody, the Sean West who you can bring in.
Right. Unless the next Taylor Melhalf is there.
Yeah. I think they're actually, I think getting away with Lom hanging around was a nice little trick. And I think Sean West appearing out of nowhere was fortuitous for them. So I think their specialists are reasonably good. Right?
You know what, too, with Sean West, I mean, at least when the dude, like as a punter, not as a quarterback or running back, okay, he actually had some of the funnest moments of the entire season. But when he punted, he boomed kicks.
He did.
Like as a punter?
Yep.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. He was booming them. So yeah, I said it last time. I'm like, yeah, I like that dude.
Yeah. So the only other thought I had before we go about the roster construction, which I guess it's I get it. I guess my point is I get the logic behind it. There's no position where I'm like, I don't get what they're doing. Or how they've made decisions here. But
right.
The funny thing they've got going on is as of right now, for the fall, when you include all the walk-ons coming in, they're at 116 bodies. That's 11 over the number. And I was trying to figure out like how they were doing the 105 exceptions because there's guys that they could flag as, oh, this player wouldn't be on the roster if the rule was in effect today. So they get grandfathered in and that gets grandfathered through the rest of their collegiate career or whatever. I am having a hard time figuring out how they could be at 105 with I think they're going to have to cut bodies is basically what I'm getting at. Cause I couldn't find just running through it. Like they'd all have to be at least second year players. So none of the guys coming in count against it because, they're not grandfathered.
Mm-hmm.
So you're looking around and, it's Mason Lane, Harry Bortolotti. I'm just pulling the walk-ons, right? Like, let's just use the walk-ons. I couldn't even find 11 walk-ons that would count. Like it's Lane, Bortolotti, a couple of the wide receivers, 2 wide receivers and, 2 offensive linemen. And then it's kind of it because there aren't many walk-ons on the defense. It's mostly on the offensive side.
Yep.
You start to go like, I don't know how they got 11 here. So I'm curious what happens in the fall because they're going to have to lose some after spring and what positions they're going to lose people at because they have decisions they have to make. Because I don't think that they're compliant right now.
Is there one more year of spring portal or no? I don't think there is. Is there?
No, it's done. There's no more portal.
Gone.
So there may be, I don't know if there are people here who, maybe it's like, hey, come for the spring and maybe these guys are graduating in 3.5 years. Like, I really don't know, I know nothing,
too.
But
yeah, right.
Peyton Lang and Evan Brown, like those guys are on their 4th year. They're not going to play, but can they carry them in this situation and like in the future, what are they going to do there? Because, you do need 4 offensive lines. I don't know how they're going to do it, but.
And how many do we hit? So 116 is where they're at now?
Yeah. By my math, they're at 116 guys on that.
So
now that
11 you got to get rid of.
That's in the fall, but you don't have to if they're 105 exception guys, right? So you'd have to find 11 of them, which are guys that they flagged back when the settlement was done, and it said, okay, every roster's got to be 105 players, and there's basically no such thing as walk-ons anymore. Right? Like everybody gets a scholarship more or less. And so they have to be guys that I think are at least a redshirt freshman. So you have to find 11 of them. And now the trick you don't know is the player knows that they are a 105, but they didn't, it's not publicly available information. And some of these guys, you never know if any of these guys coming in were 105 guys. I doubt it. But if they were flagged by another university as being someone who was going to lose their spot, they carry that with them forever. So that exception goes to the new school. I don't care about this stuff at all.
Yeah.
But it's like so annoying. Let me rephrase that. I don't like having that I know this. It's so not interesting.
I don't want this knowledge.
But
Yeah.
I am kind of curious, like, are they going to have to find some spots after spring?
Feels like it. Yeah.
And where do you do it and how do you do it? Because it feels like all these teams, they need more offensive linemen in the spring than they do in the fall.
Sure.
So maybe it's
it's fu-
there. Maybe
Yeah,
it's
but when you like, even when we just going through this exercise today, I mean, there's plenty of people on that list that are they're not gonna play.
yeah. I mean, but that's always going to be right. There's 105, right?
Yeah.
So there's going to be guys who don't play. I don't think I'm going to be seeing Ben Wenzel anywhere this time. This year, like I don't think I'll be seeing him play, or I'm going to say another name that'll come back to
No,
haunt
but
me or something.
the true freshmen coming in though, those are draft picks.
Yes.
So they're not going anywhere.
Oh no, but
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, but you say like Evan Brown and Peyton Lang, like are they gonna?
Those are the ones
Do they come out and play on senior day? Like
who knows?
the way they did with
Those are going to be your roster casualties, though. I think
they have to be,
if you want to call them that,
unless they're an exception, then they don't count. So then there's another. You know what I mean? Which is the part we don't know. It's not it's not interesting, but it's
I
something
can't
that's out
figure out
there.
that exception rule, but I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Good, me neither. All right, so like we decided halfway through the show, we are not getting to Colton Joseph.
No, not today.
We're probably over an hour already, or close to it. Well, by the time Cody cuts it down, it'll be less. But
yeah,
we've talked enough. Until the next time.
Until the next time, Rich.
Enjoy the conversation? Head on over to buckaroundpodcast.com to find all the ways to connect with the show, links to our Patreon page, and feeds for every major podcasting platform. We want to thank each and every one of our patrons. You make this podcast possible. This has been The Buck Around, Badger football analysis from a fan perspective.